Hi there, I'm Matt Keene. Thanks for visiting Creating a Future We Want, the Our Learning series. Although this one might turn out to be a part of the upcoming What I Learned Whilst Surfing series. I've got a twin fin here, bit of a swallow, too close to the camera. Swallowtail, keel fins. Um, But in our learning series, I talk about what we're chatting about with our daughters, what we're learning in our education at home. In the surf series, I'm thinking what I'm going to talk about is surfing. Starting this fall when I'm back at the ocean. Right now, I'm Puget Sound, near Hansville, Washington. Foul weather bluff. Beautiful day today, though. And what I was chatting about with the girls earlier was about a recent surf trip I took to a secret spot that, and this is a different story, that I accidentally found 25 years ago or so because I got on the wrong ferry. But I go back and surf there each winter for a few weeks or more. And just as a start, if you're a surfer and you're intermediate to advanced, then you watch this, which is doubtful because there's only like 6 or 8 people that watch these, and I know them all. But if there happen to be, then probably what I'm going to say is either naive, um, outright incorrect, or uh, something that you would think maybe wouldn't be worth putting on video. But that's never stopped me before. So, I went to this place to surf, and the year before, during COVID, I lived on the coast and surfed a lot, and a whole lot. It had been the first time I really had a chance to work on my surfing in a long time, and I was keeping a journal. I'd write down every time that I go surf, and I think between January 1st and May 1st, I think I had 50 entries, 50 sessions, but I mean, I'd go out like I'm in North Carolina, so I mean, I could have like it could be 6 to 12 inches, and I'm going out when it's 40 degrees if it's rideable. So I count that as a session because I've at least worked extremely hard, if nothing else, to just put on the wetsuit or take it off when it's so cold. So I was excited about this trip to this secret surf spot because one of the people that I surf with when I go there, uh, I respect a great deal, and I've learned a lot from this gentleman over the years about surf and about life. And I went out to this particular point that we surf at, and I had a new board. I had this twin fin. I'd never ridden a twin fin before, but I got it right before the trip, and I also took the thruster, which is a surfboard with 3 fins, one in the center and 2 on the sides. In case you're not familiar, so there's tri-fin thruster, and this is a twin. I had never ridden a twin fin, but I mean, what's one fin? I mean, how different can it be, right? I was very excited about this new board made by Hayden Shapes, and very excited. Crypto style. I'm into crypto a bit for the last 3, 4, 5 years. So it's cool that my surfboards are called crypto too. And so this was the twin version of the Crypto thruster. Not sure they have enormous amount in common except for the name. I'm probably not a good enough surfer to know that. But basically, I went out that day, very decent size surf, and I was terrible. Like, I couldn't even, as a left, and I'm regular foot, meaning that when I take off, if I go front side or right, I'm facing the wave, backside, left, got back to the wave, and it's left. And like, I couldn't even bottom turn up bottom of the wave and get back into. I couldn't turn the board. I like dug the rail in so many times when I would make that turn up the wave. I'd dig the rail and fall. Like, I'm not a good surfer, but I don't fall a lot for no apparent reason. Not too many totally unforced errors like that anymore. That's probably just because I'm old and kind of like conservative. But not that I always haven't been. But it was horrifying. I was so embarrassed. I was just mortified. I was like, ah, my gosh. Well, and I got this board. I was there for almost 3 weeks, like 17, 18 days. That night, I was like, what is wrong? This is like too restrictive. It's too limiting for me. It's too like the margin of error for turning or getting the rails out of the water is too. I didn't know what was wrong, but something was very wrong, and it felt like something like too restrictive or limiting the constraints for surfing the twin fin made it impossible. It was something I loved to do. I got so frustrated. And then I was like, well, heck, I'm here for 2 more weeks, right? What if I just dedicate every second to like mastering this thing and figuring it out? And what if I get a week into that and I still can't? I've wasted a week and I still can't surf, and I've wasted a week of great waves, between 2 feet and 5 feet, maybe 6 foot waves through that whole time. So I went back and forth, and I decided the next day I would take it out, and I just went to a beach break, which is more what I'm used to from eastern North Carolina. Well, it's the only place there's surf. I don't think there's any surf in western North Carolina. And so I, more used to the beach break sort of waves kind of all over the place. So I was at a beach break, and it's pretty. It's relatively soft at high tide and mushy, and can be extremely kind of like bam on your head at low tide. Unpleasant. So there you can get a lot of different looks at waves, a lot of different like looks for trying, this new board here. And man, I just focused. I was just like so much reflection on what just happened, and then I'd get another wave, and I'd just feel like what is this? What am I feeling here? What am I doing? What if I do this? And what if I do that? And lots of experimentation and just trying everything I could think of and trying to take off on different types of waves at different places in the wave, early, late, you know, trying to do some things that I'm not good enough to do, trying to do things that I should be good enough to do, but wasn't. And it was just such an amazing experience, because I did start to figure it out, and I did learn, and like there's nowhere to hide. You've got a thing, you're terrible at it. I don't need anyone to explain that to me. I'm falling. I can't ride a wave, like in the most extreme sense, terrible. But then all the experimentation, like, oh my gosh, if I really press that heel down and pivot, like really push down way back on the tail, pivot, I can pivot fast enough in this scenario. And oh wow, look at what happens when I put that rail in the water, and I don't try to force it. I sort of let the board and the wave more do more of the have a lot more say over what happens. And this is very different than the thruster, right? I was feeling like, oh, the thruster, that 3-fin board I was talking about, there's a lot more margin for error in a way. The tail doesn't slide, it kind of sticks. But the rails kind of come out of the water more easily. I don't dig the rail and get stuck so easily. So I got to this place where at first I was thinking, oh, this is so much more constraining, or, I don't know what's going on. But then it's like, only if you think about it like setting the boundaries a priori to the experience, right? If I decide that I need to go outside of these boundaries and I need to be able to do certain things beyond the boundaries of what this board is designed to do, then I make the determination, oh, it's limiting me, or the margin for error is too small. But what if we were to say, oh, here are the boundaries? It's not shaped like a box, probably. The boundaries, shaped like a surfboard. Let's master some things in there. Within the boundaries, is it possible with set boundaries to find immense joy? Is it possible within certain boundaries, if we set them and decide on working with those, to experience grace, to allow humility in, to have a voice? That humility saying, these are the boundaries I have to work with, given the everything that's a part of this system we're talking about here. So with this board and this new style of board that I was not familiar with, I went from this place of viewing as like, oh, it's too constraining, or I'm not good enough, or there's too little margin for error, to more like, oh, wow, I'm unfettered. I'm unfettered surfing. My style is unfettered now. Now that I have these tight boundaries that I'm aware of, I can do these sorts of turns. I can't do that sort of thing. Not that I really could do it very well to begin with. I don't have to do all this other stuff. I just focus on that rail and that glide and that coming across the flat of the board up higher on the wave. Get that other rail in. Just master this most simple seeming thing. Unfettered by all this pumping. I didn't have to do the pumping. I didn't have to do, my arms don't have to be, I hope I don't look like a chicken, but a lot of people do when they're surfing, and I think you look like a chicken, and I hope I don't look like a chicken. Pump, 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 pump. So it was like very painful to learn this, to experience that humiliation, but that humiliation led me to a certain humility and the recognition of boundaries that I needed, I had to accept and had to understand, so that I could have this unfettered approach where I found some grace in the lines, describing some arcs in those waves that I would have called my art, the beauty that I was bringing for that, just that moment in the wave, that arc described in that wave, that was my art for that moment. Painful to get to it, but gosh, what worth doing isn't? My name is Matt Keene. Thanks for visiting Creating a Future We Want, the Our Learning and maybe Surf series coming this fall. Take care.